Wait and see. You know, when you can't predict the future, that can be a good strategy. But wait and see isn't always a good strategy when it comes to your retirement. In these uncertain times, the decisions you make today regarding your savings and investments can have a huge impact on your retirement. Phillip Statler and the team at Statler Financial have seen the market at its highs, its lows, and everywhere in between. They know how emotional it can be for you right now. So here's what they're doing. They're clearing their schedule to talk with you on the phone or on a video call to listen to what concerns you have and then offer help. The number to call is 863-285-3815. They are local and independent advisors who can help guide you through this. Call Phillip Statler and the Statler Financial team now. 863-285-3815 and schedule your time for a phone or a video meeting with the team. Call 863-285-3815. That's 863-285-3815. Investment advisory services offered through Statler Financial Services, Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
.7 Light FM, John Cougar Mellencamp is there. They call me Morning Dave. It's 8:40 now, 20 before 9. Time to check in on your money and see how that's doing on Wall Street today. Had a pretty good day on Friday. See if we can't keep it rolling today. Back after a week of exploring life with young children, we have Phillip Statler back in the office at Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Phillip, good morning. Good to have you back in town.
Hey, it's good to be back. Sorry I missed those last couple of days. I had good intentions, Dave, let me tell you, but with a little one in the house that wakes up all time during the night, and the time change difference made it a little difficult a couple of those last mornings to get up an hour early to be on the radio.
You need that reminder every once in a while that parenthood is best reserved for the young, right?
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
Been there, done that. Well, while you were gone, we finished off Friday with a pretty good bang. The NASDAQ was up 159 points, a percent and a third. We had the Dow up 161. Standard & Poor's was up by 30 on Friday. Can you help us talk it up a little bit farther on the week we finally get earnings season beginning, right?
Hey, there's not much happening today, but guess what? Tomorrow, the gate starts to open up, and we have financials coming out first thing in the morning. You and I should be able to talk about that tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Absolutely. And the financials are always an interesting bellwether for the rest of the economy because they fiddle around with our savings, our checking, the business checking, business investments, and they make the market for stocks as well. So you got kind of a cross-section of the financial business when those big guys start reporting, and they do start out bright and early tomorrow morning as we begin the fourth earnings season of 2020. I've been kind of fascinated watching the re-ratings that have been coming through. They're actually a little optimistic about some of the big banks, aren't they?
They are. We've got, and not just them, we've got a lot of re-ratings coming out, and I haven't seen any downgrades. I've just seen upgrades pretty much across the board.
Which is always a little bit scary because you know things can't be all hearts and flowers when they start actually spitting up the real numbers.
Well, that's true. And that will be told tomorrow, right? We'll start to see that tomorrow and see how that's really going to play out.
We shall find out. Relatively slow news day today. The government doesn't have any data planned to be dumped at 8:30 this morning. And like you said, the earnings season begins tomorrow, so we really don't have a lot of excitement on our end of the fence. Mostly tidbits floating around. I was getting kind of a kick out of two company stories. One of them, the Regeneron CEO, was on TV yesterday, busy trying to talk their stock down. It seems that after President Trump took the stuff and gave Regeneron credit for curing his COVID-19 case, everybody been buying Regeneron like chiclets, and their CEO doesn't really want to cruise for a fall if it isn't everything the president cracked it up to be.
Well, that's true, and that's, it's unusual to have a company, talk down their stock, but, it's usually in the best interest of the shareholders to really get what is the true value. And, just because the president used it and it worked doesn't mean the mainstream medical community will start to adopt that same procedure. That's sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about most of these things. There was an interesting news blip on one of the news shows last night. I don't remember which one it was, talking about how, these things, Regeneron may very well prove markedly successful in like 40% of the cases, kind of like hydroxychloroquine did a while ago. There were a lot of anecdotal cases about it doing some good, but then they did the cross-section, found out there was a comparison, there was risk involved for some cases, and it didn't work in others, and it kind of lost favor. So the Regeneron guy is saying, whoa, let's finish the full stage 3 before we all get excited about this thing.
Absolutely, and you don't blame them. I mean, they don't want to, they don't want to be out there giving some information that it may not be what it's dreamed up to be when it comes out of the chute and they get the real numbers or the real whatever the actual end result's going to be.
Absolutely. Another company tidbit going across this morning. I was cracking wise with you before we went on the phone. I was wondering if Twitter had reported results today because they're right at the top of my big winner list pre-market. They're up almost 5%. No report out of them. Must mean everybody's expecting a tweet storm out of the Supreme Court nomination hearings today. What do you think?
Well, I think it's probably more likely that Deutsche Bank probably paid a little bit more into that than the hearings because they upgraded Twitter to a buy. And so I think that's probably where you're getting that bump in the value at.
Man, I'm still thinking that probably Trump's going to give us a big boost on Twitter activity. Boy, that takes an awful lot of prescience to guess that President Trump is going to tweet today. The other thing going on among the big companies that's out today, Apple has their big iPhone announcement tomorrow. I think it's 3 p.m. our time. And all of the soothsayers are saying this is going to be the beginning of a super cycle on iPhones. Apple will instantaneously become the #1 5G instrument seller out there. And seems like the stock market likes it, too, because they're pre-market trading. They're up by 1.75% already, and we're 24 hours before the announcement.
Yeah, it is. And let's face it, when Apple speaks, most people listen. So we'll see that tomorrow. You know, what's their new technology that they're rolling out? What's it going to look like? What are the benefits of upgrading to that new phone? And you've got a lot of those first adopters out there, right? As soon as the new phone comes out, they're right there to get that new phone, and then once everybody sees it, then everybody else wants one too. So it will definitely start to drive demand. And if the 5G is anything that is cracked up to be, that's going to be a good thing for Apple.
Yeah, it might help to remember that around this neck of the woods, the full 5G service with the legendary numbers that you hear about in the press probably will be a little while before we see it. But
maybe a long while. You know, I mean, let's face it, we're in the middle of nowhere when it comes to that type of technology.
Yeah, the millimeter wave stuff will probably show up somewhere around 2027 around here. But the low band stuff we might actually see within the next 3 years anyway. And that's got a lot of people, even locally, excited by that.
It does. And, you know, so, hey, you talked about a couple companies. You know, Berkshire Hathaway is making a few they're in the news in a couple different ways today. Their foundation basically is the Jane Foundation is reducing their holdings in Berkshire Hathaway, and I find that interesting because the chairman of that foundation is the vice chairman of the Berkshire board of directors. So that's a little interesting. And then the other thing I have on Berkshire is they have taken a pretty good sized stake, almost 6% stake in Dillard's, the department store.
Now there's optimism.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's and Dillard's, I think, was probably one of the 3 or 4 retail establishments that was getting some decent grades from analysts.
But as a sector, that's kind of a vote of confidence that there is a future in brick and mortar retailer coming out of Berkshire Hathaway. That's a pretty heavy vote.
I believe you're right. It is a big vote, and so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And let's face it, there's always going to be some brick and mortar, I think, at least for the next 25, 30 years, because people still want to touch it, feel it, try it on before they go buy it.
That's always been my personal preference, but then again, I'm older than dirt, and I was hoping that more people would feel the same way, right? One of the tidbit I just came across my ticker, big opioid maker, now like what do they call hydrocodone and all of the addictive opioid pain relievers, filed for bankruptcy this morning. So some of those chickens are coming home to roost this morning as well. And in the big pharma sector, that can't help in the least.
No.
Once again, a green day on Friday on Wall Street, 45 minutes before we open this morning. Phillip, you got any indications of continued green ink?
Well, let's see what we do have, Dave. It is green ink, and some of it's pretty substantial green ink. We've got the Dow 30 up about 0.25%, $72. We've got the S&P 500 up 0.75%, a little over $25. And the big winner today, right now anyway, is the NASDAQ up almost 1.9%, $217. You got to figure that Apple's driving a lot of that movement there in the NASDAQ. Then we look at the commodity side of things. It's a little bit more of a mixed bag. We've got silver up pretty good, 1.1%. We got gold up about 35 basis points. Crude oil, however, is going the opposite direction, down 1.4% to right at $40 a barrel.
Got to probably assume that was because the hurricane got through the Gulf and now they're reopening the oil derricks, so supply issues start coming into play, wouldn't you suspect?
I suspect so. I would hope to start to see it maybe start to move up maybe once they start to get those things up and going, because I was on the highways and let me tell you, they are pretty crowded. They're not like they were 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, this is not acting like a pandemic right now. The highway on 27 will tell you that too. Overseas markets, mixed bag in Asia at the close this morning. Japan was off by a little bit. Hong Kong up by quite a bit. Europe generally in green ink halfway through their day on October 12th. Phillip, it's nice to have you back in town. You were in the office. How do I get a hold of you to find some stability in my retirement portfolio?
Hey, man, give us a call at 863-382-0037. Hey, check out our website. If you'd like to schedule just a 15-minute phone call with us, go to statlerfinancial.com, and you'll find a link there where you can schedule an appointment, schedule a phone call, whatever your preference is. We'd love to have a chat with you about your risk in your portfolio. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 730.
And, of course, back here again tomorrow morning with Phillip Statler back in the saddle at Statler Financial Services. Thank you very much, sir. We'll see you then.
All right, man. You have a great day.
Appreciate it. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler. Wait and...
Hey, I know I've been gone for a while. Glad you're back. Glad I'm back in the saddle today. I hope that your week is off to a great start. I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Remember, if you don't know how much risk you have in your portfolio, give us a call for our financial x-ray, 863-382-0037.
Wait and see. You know, when you can't predict the future, that can be a good strategy. But wait and see isn't always a good strategy when it comes to your retirement. In these uncertain times, the decisions you make today regarding your savings and investments can have a huge impact on your retirement. Phillip Statler and the team at Statler Financial have seen the market at its highs, its lows, and everywhere in between. They know how emotional it can be for you right now. So here's what they're doing. They're clearing their schedule to talk with you on the phone or on a video call to listen to what concerns you have and then offer help. The number to call is 863-285-3815. They are local and independent advisors who can help guide you through this. Call Phillip Statler and the Statler Financial team now. 863-285-3815 and schedule your time for a phone or a video meeting with the team. Call 863-285-3815. That's 863-285-3815. Investment advisory services offered through Statler Financial Services, Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.